Hi Craig, how are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm having problems with my screen at the moment. I can't seem to exit my screen, but give me a second.
Okay, all right.
Welcome back to APC Webinar Series 2021. I am Sean Lee, APC Sports Manager as always. I wish you all a wonderful new year and I hope you had great holidays with your beloved families and friends. So for the first webinar of this year, it is my great pleasure to invite Mr. Craig, Chief Executive and Interim President of CPISRA. During the last session, you remember Lauren touched upon the different types of cerebral palsy and the various impairments. Also covered suitable sports for people with CP and barriers that may be experienced. With that knowledge and information, Craig will provide more information on the new World Para-Athletic event of FrameRunning. So without further ado, I give you Mr. Craig. Craig, the floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, this is a short presentation just to introduce frame running, which was formerly known as race running. CPISRA and World Para-Athletics have been working for a number of years to develop this event and get it to a level where it can become a World Para-Athletics event on their program. And this gives you some background into the event and what athletes can do it. The aim of the presentation is to provide more information on frame running, what benefits it can bring to those with high support needs, explain what impairment groups can compete in frame running, explain what level of impairments can compete in frame running, but also and why WPA, World Para-Athletics, wish to develop it. What this presentation won't give you is any information on how to coach athletes in frame running, but it will give you a taste and a flavour of the event and the excitement that the athletes involved can get from the event. In very simple terms, frame running is a form of adaptive running. They use a three-wheeled frame to support the athlete and to propel themselves along the track using that frame. The event is primarily for those athletes with cerebral palsy or related conditions. Although other disability groups can use the frames, the pathway that's been developed so far is for those athletes in the coordination impairment groupings. Frame running offers this group of athletes. This group of athletes are athletes who couldn't ambulate under their own abilities. They wouldn't have the balance and coordination to do so, but because of their hand function also, a lot of these athletes would have difficulty operating a racing wheelchair. So this is a group that we're
Craig, you've got on mute there.
At the moment, the athletes at the World Para-Athletics only recognise 100 meters, but we hope to extend that further going forward. So this diagram here gives a brief history of race running. It's been around for a number of years. I first saw race running at the 1998 IPC Athletics World Championships in Birmingham, where it was an exhibition event. It's in 2005, CPISRA decided to try and help Parasports Denmark develop this as an athletics event. And in that time, we developed a classification system and rules, regulations, rankings, and we've progressed from there. And in 2017, World Para-Athletics recognised it as a World Para-Athletics discipline, and in 2018, it was recognised, and athletes competed in the European Championships, and again in 2019 in the World Championships in Dubai. And hopefully a lot of you will have seen that happen. So moving on to who can take part in race running. In terms of the impairment types, we're talking about those athletes with hypertonia, spasticity, dystonia, rigidity, ataxia, and athetosis. These are the athletes that are in the World Para-Athletics coordination impairment grouping, and you would find them in the 30s classes, 31 to 38. In terms of the gross motor function chart, these would be, the groups would be GMS C5 and also 4. But athletes, the athletes are again, if you're looking at athletes who would be potential for race running, it's those athletes within the impairment groups of coordination impairments, and those that have got would have difficulty propelling a racing wheelchair and can't functionally run. Classification is all about developing a system that gives fair competition, and CPISRA originally developed a classification system, but when World Para-Athletics agreed that it could be a World Athletics event, World Para-Athletics event, they insisted that they had to be research done into a new system that was IPC classification code compliant. That research was completed in March 2020, and a paper went to the governing board of the IPC in October of last year, outlining the new classification. I understand that this has been approved by the IPC governing board, and in the next few weeks a consultation process will start with the members of IPC, and with hopefully the new system will be in place in the early part of 2021, probably hopefully April, May time. terms of the two new classes, these will be T71 and T72 classes, and full details of the profiles are available, will be available when the consultation process starts. One of the reasons for using the T71 and T72 classes was that World Parathletics hope to eventually include the other classes in this adaptive running class, so there could be in the future T30s, T73s and T74s, for example. But that is at the moment it's pure and simply for the coordination and impaired athletes. Like a lot of growth in para events, there was 3 levels. There's a sporting level, the recreational level, and the therapy. And frame running is no different. It was a lot of the early development work was done in the therapy field by physios and sport medical people. It's also a great recreation, and also developed now into what we hope will become an elite event. In terms of the potential benefits, this group of athletes, there's not a lot of opportunity for them to actually increase their cardiorespiratory health, aerobic capacity. There's a slight psychological benefit. It allows this group of athletes to increase interaction with their peers. There's studies that actually show also that it increases muscular strength and improves motor control and coordination. And just in general, it increases the athlete's health and well-being by increased physical activity. I'm now just going to show you a very short video. This is what we term in the UK as a come and try event, where young people had an opportunity to try the event for the first time, and this will give you an idea of what frame running is. So that shows you the type of athletes that can compete in frame running, but also the recreational and the social aspect of using race runners. It's where it's was developed originally in Denmark. They have a lot of cyclopaths and so forth, and a lot of the athletes there actually use their frames to go back and forward to school, which again gets them very much equal with their peers. I now just want to show you this is how the event has developed over the last decade. That film we saw previously was probably taken about 10 years ago, and one of the young girls featured on it is now looks like this here, and she was second in the European Championships in this event. But this is this is 100 meters in Berlin. So I say that shows you how the events developed. I've been involved with race running now for probably 14, 15 years. And I would say now we're just about getting to where we're actually, the people competing at the top level are very much elite athletes. And I think it's they deserve the recognition they're now getting. Again, I'll just another short video. Again, this is Dubai last year, and again, the improvement over a year or 18 months from the Berlin to this event is quite significant. So that shows you the improvement, and it also, even with Kaylee being an elite athlete, you can still see the coordination impairment that's involved in her movements. Kaylee, would be impossible for Kaylee to push a wheelchair consistently, and she certainly couldn't functionally run. So this event is ideal for her. So again, just to explain why World Parathletics promoting the event, as you'll be all aware, it's IPC and World Parathletics intention to increase the opportunities for athletes with high sport needs. This group of athletes certainly fall into that category. It's a huge growth area for the sport. You might not realize it yet in Asia, but within 2 years of recognizing frame running, almost 100 athletes have been licensed on World Parathletics licensing system from 15 countries covering 3 continents. And as I said earlier, frame running gives this group of athletes probably the one and only opportunity for aerobic competition. That is the main reasons why WPA are keen to develop this sport. It's as well as the 100 athletes in the licensing system, there's almost 200 on the database. and I think I think that 100 athletes is actually probably on the low number. There's probably more like 150 either licensed or registered with that WPA. There is at the moment some frame running activity in Asia. Certainly, there's 4 frames in Dubai, and also there's some activity in Chinese Taipei, and also in Japan, and also in Saudi Arabia. There's frames being manufactured in Chinese Taipei, and it's like an area, a growth area. And one of the things that we've been working on with within CPISRA is trying to increase the number of manufacturers and bring the price point down for frames. And I think now the price point for a frame can be as little as $1,500 US, which compared to a racing wheelchair is relatively modest. I say relatively, it's still expensive, but it is relatively modest. For more information on the event, you can contact World Para-Athletics or myself. My email address is there, and also on this call is Richard Keith, who is sits on the CPISRA Race Running Development Committee, and Richard's based in Australia, but he's responsible for developing race running in Asia. That's my presentation, very short and sweet. But if anybody's got any questions, I'm here to answer anything I can.
Thank you very much, Craig, for your presentation. It was very informative and useful for all the audience, I'm pretty sure. Thank you, Mr. Richard Keys, for being with us. Did you have anything to add to Craig's point regarding the frame running?
Yeah, so from an Australian perspective, we started race running just to give you an understanding of the rate at which the sport has increased in participation, specifically in Australia. We have gone over the last 2 years from having only like a handful of people understanding or knowing what frame running is. So now in Australia, we've got it covered in each of the each state of Australia, and we've got up to 117 athletes, from all age groups participating regularly in frame running. So the uptake within Australia has been quite dramatic. The National Sporting Association, so the Australian Athletics, have taken on board the classifications that are our classifications, and they're ready to align with the T71, T72 when that comes into play. But we've certainly found domestically that it's once people understand and get exposure to it, it is quite quickly taken up by the CP community who are and other similar disabilities who are keen to get into an athletic sport. We found also that people from within wheelchair sports also, they that have limited hand function, when they see and get exposure to race running, they can quickly transition as well. So it gives other avenues for those athletes, as well as obviously in the track and field area. But it's and in terms of if you want to ask me any questions and be in touch after this, I'm happy to take questions and queries to give you our experience as well.
Thank you, Richard. Everyone, now it's time for question for Craig and Richard. Anything you wanted to know more about the frame running? So don't miss out this opportunity. everyone. Either you can ask your question by yourself, or you can just type in the chat window, then I can read it.
Yeah. Hi, Craig. I'm Ahmad from Maldives.
Hi.
We would like to know that is there a manufacturer for South Asia regarding the frame running structures from Hero that have been told by SSCPF, Mr. Rajesh Thamor. Then there will be a manufacturer from Hero side manufacturing the frames. Is it ongoing process, or is it did they started working on this?
I do. I know that Rajid has started negotiations with that organisation, but I'm not quite sure how far advanced that they are. But I know Rajesh is very keen to develop race running in South Asia, and he's working on that. I'm also working with a UK-based charity who are also trying to develop a low-cost frame that may be developed and manufactured in South Asia as well. It's an organisation that's already in South Asia by the name of Motivation, and they're working on a low-cost frame that would be manufactured and distributed in South Asia and Africa. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
I have one question during the presentation, Craig, you mentioned that it's being developed, and also several countries in Asian region also practices this events regularly.
Yeah.
So in this regards, I'm just wondering that if CPISRA is planning any promotional programs or any development program for this year in Asia region, so that our members can take part.
At the moment in this year, we'll get nothing in terms of face-to-face development. We had planned some work in South America last year that unfortunately was cancelled because of COVID, and obviously at the moment the COVID crisis, face-to-face and travel is still quite restrictive. I am in discussions with Parathletics, and there's talk is that there's an Asian junior championship later this year. Is that am I right in saying that? And we're hoping to do something potentially with frame running at that event.
Okay, thank you.
But if any countries are interested and would like to for us to do some development work, please get in touch with us and we can arrange something. But at the moment with COVID, it is quite difficult. What we're trying to do is, this was a very short awareness presentation. We are trying to develop online coaching material as well that will be available, I would say, by probably March, April of this year, and that will be available it'll be in English, but we also hope to work with Agitas to get some of our educational material translated into other languages, including some of the South Asia languages.
We got one question from Nurida Kali. The question is, How do we determine the winner? Should there be athlete with a close finish, or is it the same as wheelchair racing?
It's the same as wheelchair racing. A nice simple question I can answer quite clearly. Yeah, it's the exact same as a wheelchair racing.
One question from Livan Zamo Mai. Livan from Yemen, an athletic coach from Yemen. We have a desire to activate the frame running, but there is a problem with providing bicycles. How can we provide them? The second question, we need to qualify classifier in our countries. Are there courses close to qualifying accredited classifier? The third question is specific to tournament for this category. Thank you. So
right.
You got three questions to answer.
I'll answer them in the reverse order, if that's all right. In terms of competitions, the frame running is now part of the WPA events, so it will appear in all the Grand Prix, including the one in Tunisia and Morocco, and it's hopefully it appears in the European World Championships. We hope through its development it'll also appear in regional competitions as well, in terms of Asian Championships, Pan American Games, etc. In terms of the classifiers and classification, that's really out of my remit. Once this classification system is finalized, it will be the responsibility of World Para Athletics, and they will be the governing body for the event. So any assistance you need with developing classifiers in your country should be directed to World Para Athletics. As an individual who is an international classifier, I would be really keen to assist, but that any sorts of request really has to go through to WPA. In terms of the frames obviously is an issue, and I'm going to ask a question here. Is there anybody from United Arab Emirates on the call today? Because that would be the closest frames that I'm aware of. There's at least 4 frames in the UAE, and they might be willing to let you borrow one, or but the manufacture of frames in Asia is something we're trying to work on. As I said, there's frames being manufactured in Chinese Taipei that I know of, and we are developing them in South Asia, but there is no frames being manufactured in Yemen at the moment. But that's I'm sorry, I can't be more help to that question. There's also some opportunity around the GITAs potentially to get some funding to manufacture or purchase frames as well. That's another opportunity as well, John. And again, I'll just refer to what I said a couple of minutes ago. We are trying to, we're in the process of developing our online coaching material, and that should be available in March, April of next year. Sorry, this year. Sorry, I'm forgetting we've moved a year. We'll be available probably March, April of this year, and it'll be an online module. I'm not sure what languages it will be in at the moment, but we are trying to do to get translation done to our English material at the moment.
Craig, can we or can CPISRA can assist us to get a connection to purchase few equipments, because countries like us are very new to this, and we don't have even single frame to introduce the sport to the para athletes here in Maldives. Even though that we are trying to establish race running, frame running, and Boschia in Maldives in 2021. So, at the moment we don't have any equipment. So, can CPISRA guide us to the companies, to a company where we can purchase this equipment at minimal cost? Thank you.
Certainly, we can discuss. If you want, you've got my email address. If you want to drop me a line, we can discuss that off webinar, so to speak, and see how we can work together to develop frame running in Maldives. That is no problem at all.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. In
terms of the model, I have got specifications that I can send to. If I send it to you, Sean, could you distribute it?
Can a trainer guide be sent about training program for this category?
Again, we are working on coaching material, both as an organization independently, but also with PA. But certainly that will be available in I say April, May time. And one of the languages, and I'm pardon my ignorance, but I'm not sure. Is Yemen? Is it Arabic in Yemen? Liban?
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Jay. Yes, Yemen is near to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so we would. I might also. Saudi Arabia are working very hard to develop, so I've got some contacts in Saudi Arabia. Would it be helpful for me to put you in contact with them?
Yeah, yes, I have my friend there. I think he's classifier. His name is Muhammad Dakar.
Yeah. That was the person I was thinking of.
Yes, but we have problem with bicycles.
Thank you very much, everyone. Also, thank you, CPISRA, again for your contribution and support, not only for this webinar, but also for our reason in terms of developing the Paralympic movement as well. And also we look forward to working very close with you for other cooperation and project in this year, and also for our games. So this concludes today's session. If anyone have more questions, so thank you again, and I wish you all the best for the new year again, and have a nice day. Bye bye, everyone.